Well, look at the time.
My.
What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It's 4:20 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live.
But I think in terms of marijuana, and legalization, I think that should be a state issue, state by state.
I think it's up to the states, yeah. I'm a states person. I think it should be up to the states, absolutely.
You know, I know people that are very, very sick, and for whatever reason, the marijuana really helps them.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
Well, the good people that are trying to research marijuana in the United States are finding more and more gridlock. As the federal health agencies say, they should just go buy their marijuana at a local dispensary. Meanwhile, the FDA input is coming up to a deadline on September 30th. Make sure you get in your comments again. And will the new Marijuana 123 Act reclassify cannabis? And will Donald Trump actually put the kibosh on cannabis legalization for the Democrats and do an executive order like Bernie would do? I don't know.
This is the time to go all in on cannabis.
You know who's not all in?
Nobody who got in prison for marijuana, for example, immediately upon being released, they shouldn't be in there that should be a misdemeanor. They should be out and their record should be expunged.
You can argue the pluses and minuses of marijuana, but marijuana ain't heroin. So we have to end that, and that's what I will do. As President of the United States, I believe we can do that through executive order, and I will do that.
Yeah, Bernie, executive orders. Who's that? Coach Chela, dancing with the world famous, the original OG pot lawyer, Bruce Margolin, at the Doubleblind launch party. Woo! Yes. What's up, Reefer Revolutionaries? It is indeed 4:20 in California. This is Reefer Revolution Live, the show where we spark up, talk about marijuana in the mainstream media, the politics of pot, and cannabis care and culture. And we had some cannabis culture last night. And when I say we, I of course say my partner in all things life and cannabis, Coach Chela.
Hey guys.
What's up, Coach Chela? I've got Coach Chela on a new mic today.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Coach Chela's audio is super cool today. So let us know.
You think it's going to be better than normal?
I think so. I think this mic is better. In just my testing. Welcome everybody. Vegan Metro is in the house. MDM Niles, Cannabis Sativa jumping in. There's Debbie D. I know Ugly Adams is in there, along with Humble Canadian. Welcome. We've got Canada in the afterburn today. As well as psychedelic news up there in the Chronicle about cannabis, and we had some psychedelic fun last night. Certainly psychedelic education and journalism, so that was pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. Ellen Blasey is in there. Let's see if I missed anybody that's jumped in first. You guys, I think, are all the first. Welcome to the show, guys. Share this show, get out this information, this channel, subscribe, get notifications. I know you guys all do, but let's spread the word. We met some amazing people last night, and we're hoping to get them on the show in the weeks forthcoming too. So all kinds of we had that great, amazing interview with Dr. Barry Gordon last week on Florida, on the vaping mystery illness, which of course continues in the news this week. All of the overreactionaries are reacting as expected, but we're gonna dig into some of that in the Chronicle a little bit. But we had an amazing time last night. You saw a little piece of it. We checked in right at the top of the party last night, the launch party, of course, for just an amazing new magazine that is out on the shelves, Doubleblind.
Also online,
yes.
Doubleblind Mag.
At doubleblindmag.com.
Yeah, you want to bring it up for the folks?
I do have it.
Oh,
actually.
far out.
Let me.
This magazine is so well curated, you guys. It is such a breath of fresh air. It really is. It's so nice to have such conscientious, forward-thinking people come together and put together this thoughtful, thought-provoking, amazing magazine. It really is terrific. And it also feels really good in the hand. You know what I mean? It has a really nice tactile thing going on.
It's a quality
It's
mag.
soft.
I'll tell you that.
There's something nice to it,
I
which
worked
is
in
nice.
I worked in the grocery industry for many years, and magazines were a big thing. And that is definitely a quality printed magazine, and well worth the mere $12 for basically an art magazine full of amazing stories and education and journalism about the renaissance of psychedelics, which is occurring and been occurring for a number of years now, but really becoming more prominent with books like Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan, and groups like MAPS and other organizations such as Decriminalize California, who we heard from last night on the panel, as well as MAPS, doctor over at MAPS doing phase 3 FDA research with MDMA. And MDMA is probably going to be prescribed for PTSD within, close to 2021. That's really the schedule with this phase 3 trial that's going on with MDMA. Not really a psychedelic, but in the same sense that, say, psilocybin works, or LSD, but certainly in the category of breakthrough medicine that the federal government just doesn't want you looking at for helping people. I guess they prefer suicides and people addicted and clinically forced to participate in a system that just keeps them on a wheel of pain. And we saw recently that this week was going around the viral video of Bernie Sanders talking to that veteran who is literally telling he's ready to commit suicide. And it's an incredible video, but the pain that's out there. And the federal government is doing all it can to stop research, not only in cannabis, which is, they literally are telling people to go, well, it's legal in some states. If you want to go research it, just do your initial research over there and, pay those taxes and buy retail prices and test it with that weed, and just do it there. So, the federal government, and are they going to get on board the psychedelic renaissance? Well, the FDA has put psilocybin on the breakthrough therapy list, and synthetic psilocybin is what we're talking about when we're doing trials with. That probably is going to be not far behind MDMA, the synthetic version for drug-resistant depression. Now, is that, the same as, and now the argument begins, Chela, of the entourage effect.
Yes.
In mushrooms.
Yes.
Because synthetic psilocybin is just merely one property.
There's that.
That contributes to the effect of the actual mushroom itself. And over close to 200 mushrooms produce psilocin and psilocybin and the other compounds.
I mean, everybody knows that eating food, not everybody. Many people know that eating food is better than taking vitamins.
Right.
Getting the whole plant is always better than getting the isolates. Always.
And CBD isolates, of course, and now the concentration of CBD oil, which is in itself not necessarily a problem, because as you know, they've tried to kill monkeys with up to 1% of their body weight with pure THC oil.
Yeah.
Given to them, fed to them, and injected into them. 1% of their body weight. Still couldn't kill anybody. So, but now we have this new technology, which I found it interesting when we had that conversation with Dr. Berry about how the syringe really changed medicine, and how new technology changed the way the government and the medicine, medical societies and things looked at practicing medicine and using drugs. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
I think that all of this plant business is going to make a big ripple effect throughout the medical community. I was watching the replay of Dr. Mark Hyman's Broken Brain. That is free through the end of tonight, you guys. So if you're interested in that, as soon as we're done, you should run over to his website and check that out, because it's really a great docuseries, an 8-part docuseries. About how the brain needs all the things that it needs. You know, it's not just one thing here and one thing. It's everything, and that we need to look at medicine and health as a holistic thing. Functional medicine, I think, is the new word for holistic medicine.
The new nomenclature for holistic medicine. Well, holistic medicine tends to get you killed.
Well,
or at least
doctors. The doctors who practice
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The doctors, not the actual use of the medicine, because it helps people.
Yeah.
But that's what gets them killed. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the reason. But I like the nomenclature. It's all encompassing. And I think that's the way most people, especially with cannabis and cancer, that's sort of like the way it's presented. It's use it with the Western medicine. It certainly helps to protect against maybe some of the poisons they're using in going after the cancer cells. But as Techno Biscuit says, Michael Jackson is THC, Janet is CBD. Most things passing off as CBD is garage tribute Janet, not the Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, Rhythm Nation, 1814 Janet.
That's funny. That's funny.
That is
hey,
awesome. Welcome, Dr. Mike.
I want to call back to something Vegan Metro said. I actually heard that along with vaping, some people had health issues this week due to drinking alcohol. Didn't get the same coverage. Thank you for reminding us of that.
You know what else happened this week, recently, and I'm sure this week is a few people ran into some very high speed lead moving through the air.
Right.
And I think that health crisis hasn't been really addressed either. Welcome, Bingus. I know we have to protect the children.
Yeah.
And the 6 children, and I think one of the deaths they were not all children. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think somebody was older, at least one of the persons. And I don't mean to laugh, but people are dropping every day with bullets. As I think it was Chris Rock said, we should tax bullets, and maybe that will help.
Or other health issues like obesity. I don't know.
I heard both sides of that this week. With regards to that context, and we're personal responsibility people, but we're also compassionate people. So it is that along with addiction. Addiction is another. People are the society sort of has driven people to the point where their diets are limited and they're forced to eat massive amounts of sugar in everything. Which is a pure addictive and gateway drug.
If you want to put a plant on the Schedule 1, you could put sugar.
Yeah, you could put processed sugar, the single molecule sugar, or whatever that. Dr. Biscuit, help me out here. So if you want to go that far, that's why we drink glass bottled Mexican Coke. So we get the pure sugar as opposed to the corn crack that they feed people in everything that's in everything. So, yes, we have a responsibility to stay, what we put in our mouths and what we put in our bodies, but we also have the freedom to put what we want in our bodies. They're poisoning us. Let's not beat around the bush. Monsanto, the industry, these subsidies for their corn and sugar, and everything in our food supplies is poisoning us if you don't, go organic, and even that, it's a fazul in some instances. So it's all about vibration, man. It's all about vibration. Keep the vibration happy and good, and the food and everything will take care of you. Listen. Let's go full conspiracy. I think the CIA is putting this additive in the system. They looped it in through China. It came into this. There's this stuff that came into the system at the end of last year. Came into the illicit, unregulated market as a thickener agent. It was something new and very inexpensive, and it started to be used. And it's true. A lot of it gets made in California and gets shipped out to other places, and a lot of it's put into labels that you can buy also from China, packaging that looks like real labels, and so greed and prohibition and greed are what this, if this an argument for anything, is that. Now, we haven't been vaping anything for very many years, and even conscientious collectives, because there are conscientious collectives and have been for years in California. People have been vaping THC in California for years, under previous laws.
Many years.
Unregulated.
Years. Unregulated.
That's right.
And nobody's been dying of the kind.
This is a very new phenomenon. But those people also knew not to use PG, not to use VG, not to use MCT oil.
Because they're original cannabis sellers.
Yes.
And they know not to kill their customers.
Absolutely. And someone we met last night that makes an awesome product. But these companies that are conscientious and have been for years with their products that are now that are following regulations, they're being harmed. They have to put out press releases and Instagram posts talking about how we use only pure THC or pure, cannabis botanicals. They have to. So is this a way to hurt the illicit market? It's hurting, I'd say, all markets, both markets. It's definitely hurting the unregulated market.
It's definitely hurting the unregulated market.
Oh, big time.
We've heard from unregulated market people and have said that it's a thing.
And listen, I don't think that's a bad thing, because if it drives the use of this new additive out and more eyes get put on using MCT oil, why would you think about using we know MCT oil is bad on it, and PG and VG, that's everybody has said it's out on that too. But still, that's been used in regular nicotine and vaping liquids forever too.
Yeah,
for years
as long as vaping's been vaping.
As long as it's been vaping. So this is a very acute and recent occurrence situation.
They should be able to track it back.
So stick to the reefer, kids.
Carrying. Yeah, stick to the flower.
Stick to the flower. Your dry herb vaporizers. If you're worried, if you have a concern, and don't buy $5 vape carts. You're guaranteed that's full of heavy metals, shitty, crappy metal that's going to fill up your lungs with metals as soon as it gets heated. They're using a drop of THC, if anything, along with some thickener, new thickener or old thickener. But, you're getting poisoned if you're buying a $5 vape cart. That's all there is to it. So, end prohibition. Don't make people go to the black market. I'm sorry. Breaking news. Guess who wants to solve the problem by taxing it? By taxing e-liquids. Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer
has never met a tax he didn't like, man.
The establishment Democrats have never met a tax they didn't like, and they're like, we'll solve this problem. We'll put a tax on it. Yeah, because putting a tax on all the cannabis products has really kept people away from the unregulated market.
Right.
That's been perfect. Well. Welcome everybody to the show. I got to take a slug of water.
I didn't bring any. I have no water. I'm sad.
That was, I am enjoying, what are we smoking? We don't know what we're smoking.
We are smoking.
Gratis
probably. Flower. Well, I know I'm smoking Harlequin Tsunami and probably wedding cake.
Flower from a friend.
Probably wedding cake.
It is legal in California to give flower to your friends, folks.
It's true.
If you're 21 and over.
Hey, everybody, make sure that you put in your input to the FDA.
Yes. FDA input.
Again.
Let's get into some of the news in the Cannabis Chronicle, shall we?
By September 30th. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go to some of the news, I can get up and get a glass of water.
Okay, I'll get into the news. You get up a glass of water. And, of course, when we speak of the news, it all begins for us on our show here on my Twitter page, which is at DC420LA over there on Twitter, where I do my tweeting. If you tweet, you should check out this thing called Twitter. It's good for that. But I just basically, the stories I find throughout the week, I like to share. I also like to share things from friends of the show, like Alexis Bortel, who's been doing a lot of tweeting this week. And here, hey, speaking of a magazine that apparently is blowing it this week, Newsweek. I have not and probably will not pick up this CBD handbook, but apparently Alexis has tweeted today, I was never contacted about the Newsweek CBD handbook that was recently printed. I do not support them or this issue at all, and I would have never agreed to be in it like this. Disgraceful, Alexis Bortel. I'm going to find out what that's really all about. I don't know because I don't have it. So we're gonna figure out what that's about. But I digress slightly. But over on Twitter is where I put out the news I find throughout the week before I load it up into the Cannabis Chronicle, which is a little newsletter we put out on Sunday.
You mean you roll it up?
I'm sorry, I roll it up. Can we talk? Can we say? Yeah, we can't round up. We roll up, right?
Yeah, we roll up.
Roll it up into a Cannabis Chronicle, and then we smoke it on Sundays, right here at 420.
With you all.
With everybody in the, that's right, with everybody in the chat. And so you can follow along in another browser window and read along with us and choose some stories that we want to talk about. And then, of course, if you're catching it during the week, this will be up all week, so you can check it out there. We're talking about, not a lot of super exciting news this week, except that it looks like everything is going to be voted on next week. Hello.
Big deal.
Several issues coming up on the Hill. It looks like banking is going to get the full House hearing, right? The full House vote. It's coming to the floor. In the House, and the American bankers are like, yeah, that's going to pass.
And the Senate.
And in the Senate, they're like, oh, look, it's going to pass in the Senate too. Because apparently the GOP is going to bring it up in committee. It's not going to come on the floor yet in the Senate, I don't think.
Cannabis banking
and then, of course, and also the Congressional Black Caucus was talking about marijuana legalization this week. So a lot of action in preparation for some more action voting on cannabis up on the Hill. Of course, the money has been on the top of our predictions of what's going to go through first. So the banking bill. Now, this one is an interesting one picked up over on Marijuana Moment. The 1 to 3 Act has been introduced.
Yeah.
Which is a rescheduling bill.
So incrementalist.
Greg Staub, Republican in Florida. Not more and other action coming out of Florida too. With Donna, is it Donna Shalala? I think it is. And Matt Gaetz pushing a new bill. I'll find that.
In politics, maybe?
Probably in politics. Yeah, probably in politics. Because you can only get so many headlines on the headline section.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I think it's in there somewhere. Maybe it's not. I might have dumped it. But everybody's in on the act. Republicans, Democrats, the bill, more bills are coming. This is obviously now, is this all talk? Because we've seen that before. We've seen a lot of action, not as much as this, but we've seen a lot of action over cannabis in, before elections, and then not much action afterwards. But what was speculated this week in one of the media, and something we've been speculating about over the weeks here on the show, and since the thoughts of 2020 started, because this was an issue in 2018. Cannabis was on a lot of ballots, right, Chela? It was on, I think, Michigan, right? Wasn't that one of the ones where people voted more for cannabis in Michigan than they did for candidates?
In a lot of places where it's on the ballot.
Yeah, everywhere. Oklahoma, it got more votes. Medical cannabis.
People have more faith in the plant than they do in the people.
And even
in their elected leaders.
And even Michael Moore says he's not so vocal about saying the word cannabis or marijuana, but he has said that you want to get ballot initiatives on the ballot, and like they did in Michigan, that's what they did in Michigan. There was other ballot initiatives too, but cannabis was the big one. And they're going to be Mississippi in the Chronicle this week. It looks like it's going to be on the ballot in Mississippi. Pending approval of the ballot. So apparently everybody but Uncle Joe in the Democratic primary anyway believes, as you saw at the top of the show, that cannabis is the way to go, getting it off. They've changed their position or have been on that position forever in certain respects. But except for Joe, who is basically, well, you gotta admire him, I guess, for his consistency, because he hasn't changed really at all either. I guess he has slightly, because he thinks this should be a misdemeanor. I think maybe he thought otherwise, especially, wow, have you heard some of the old crime bill stuff between him and Bernie back in the, on the floor? It's just, the difference is so.
I can't stand him. I just can't stand Joe Biden.
And everybody, even mainstream media, it seems like, and I don't know, I don't watch a lot of mainstream media, but it just seems like they're going, is he gonna, I don't know, I'm going to stay around. I got to Warren. Harris looks like, yeah, that's done. But everybody still, everybody but Biden is, and this is one of the issues. So if Biden gets the nomination,
no,
which I don't think, I don't know. I don't think he's going to make it to the primary, right? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
No, he'll make it to the primary.
You think he'll make it to the primary? I don't know. I don't think he's going to, I don't know, man.
Those people are really attached to their systems.
Well, I'm going to say they both need better campaign people, because somebody needs to get better denture grip for Biden on his campaign. And somebody needs to give Bernie a break. Maybe Bernie just doesn't want to stop. Maybe just like, nope.
I think Bernie doesn't want to stop.
Bernie, can we take 3 days off? Nope, I got to go. We're going over there. I got a meeting.
Take 1 day off and gargle.
Somebody get that guy some echinacea and some grapefruit seed extract.
Just gargle. Gargle with grapefruit seed extract. You'll be fine.
Listen, Leo DiCaprio screams all the time, and he on set, and he gargles well, and it's, he's a good actor too. He can keep it going. So yeah, somebody needs to either give him a break or give him some good gargle, and he screams for us. He does. He yells for us, but he's yelling a lot, and he's doing some damage. It seems.
Got to be done from the diaphragm.
Yes, he's got
to coach.
He needs to do more Joe Rogan. He needs to do more podcasts. Have him do more podcasts.
Right
do podcasts before the debates.
And media up close, not big things.
Because like Jimmy says, you don't want to give him you don't want to give him a Dean scream. I love how actually now it seems like the Twitterverse or somebody has been able to convert the screaming aspect, the yelling aspect, into a real positive. Bernie yells for us. And the stories are amazing. So it's they seem to have taken that away, because he's always screamed. So what are you going to do? He's always been loud. What are you going to do? Say, so anyway, but they will try. They'll try all kinds of things. So Joe Biden, misdemeanor. Misdemeanor. I think he said it's a misdemeanor, I think is what he actually said.
He's a misdemeanor. Enough about Joe Biden.
Enough about Joe Biden. Did you know
Let's talk about somebody else I don't like.
Did you know that Delhi consumes more weed than any other city in the world?
This is a fun story.
I thought we better lighten it up a little bit.
Oh, that's a fun story.
With a culture story. Mm-hmm. This survey comes out every year. And Delhi is always on top. Usually followed by New York. Where's New York on the list, Joe?
Open the thing.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Wait. Oh.
Don't ask me quiz questions. I was at a union meeting all morning, dude.
Sorry. See, 2018, New York was at the top. Karachi, and then New Delhi. But I guess...
Delhi. Here we are thinking we're the weed capital of the world. No, that would be Delhi. I wonder why Delhi uses so much cannabis. I wonder if they use it medicinally, if they use it in everything. Do we have any viewers from Delhi?
Delhi is among the cheapest places in the world to buy weed.
Wow. Pop for pennies.
So you better get on that, New York. We better get legalization happening in New York, because Delhi's on the rise. We hope Delhi sticks around, because a lot of activity over there too. Politics things not looking good over there, and that area of the world. Everywhere is sort of, boy, things are speeding up, aren't they? Good time to be smoking weed and taking psychedelics, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
To be blunt. blunt commentary.
Ellen Blasey noticed that during the first break at the debate, they asked 2 students who they liked, and they both said Bernie.
That was cool.
Couldn't edit that out.
That's cool.
That's right. That's right. Oh, vis-a-vis. Welcome.
Vis-a-vis.
Hey, babe, would you give Ellen Blasey a wrench, please?
Oh, yes. Certainly.
Thank you.
Oh, no, not timeout. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, don't time
I thought
it out.
I did last week.
No,
Welcome, Vis-a-vis. You stick around, you'll be able to get a wrench, too.
that's right. What else did I really like?
So we're not fans of this 1, 2, 3 act, by the way. That's ridiculous.
No.
Oh, okay, so all right, so now we got to talk about this.
Which?
All right, here's the orange elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah. You mean the thing we've been talking about for years? Well, a year?
Yeah,
anyway?
the doomsday scenario that we've been predicting for a year now is on the minds of some of the media.
It's only a doomsday scenario for the... How many Democrats are running right now, plus Bernie?
29? No, it's down to
Okay,
20,
so everybody
22?
but Bernie
10.
will be impacted by this because Bernie has a bunch of other things that are also different and weird and new. Not just the cannabis thing.
Well, we did say that the 2 things that would do it would do Medicare for all and descheduling cannabis.
Yeah, that would fuck everything
And
up.
that would basically put a knife in a good percentage of the Democrats' platform to get elected in 2020.
Totally.
Or it certainly would it would derail many of the independents or libertarian leaning. It would change. Would it change our mind and vote for him?
No.
No. But
I'd still vote for Bernie, probably.
But it's not an impossible theory. I know we play it every week. He supports states' rights. He's reiterated that certainly recently. This vaping controversy may add to the issue and to the conversation. I'm sure it's going to. I would be interested to see how it's going to affect the Democrats if they weigh in on it, and if what comes out of their mouths goes along with the propaganda and the fear mongering about THC, because both the industry, the regulated industry, and the prohibitionists have jumped on the fact that it's an additive that looks like it's in the black market THC products.
I think all the regulated market licensed people are also echoing that as much as humanly possible.
Exactly.
I think they're trying to capitalize on the deaths of people to further their business pursuits, which is disgusting.
Well, it also justifies their taxation of the industry.
Disgusting.
For using that to shut down the unregulated dispensaries and other services, and essentially, I guess some of the old style, collectives and things and groups that have still been trying to operate. And they're hunting them out. They're rooting them out. Pot Brothers put up new videos every week about raids that are going on in different places, and
we don't like focusing on that.
And how to handle, if that happens, if you're there, which of course is shut the fuck up.
Always shut the fuck up. Always shut the fuck up and just roll. You're going to go to jail and it'll all work out. Just shut the fuck up.
Nothing you say to police is ever going to help you.
Never.
Ever.
Never.
Especially if it's a lie. But
nothing
ever is going to help you. Always, if you're being detained, always invoke your Fifth Amendment right, and you have to say that, according to the Supreme Court.
Right.
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
Right.
To silence, to remain silent.
Hi, you're doing a great job, officer. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right.
And then do KGB 00001 afternoon. Do svidanya, KGB. Thanks for joining in. Jilly Love in the house. What's up, everybody? Vis-a-vis, we got some new viewers in the house. Thanks for coming on. Cannabis Sativa is here. Vegan Metro. Alex Bosom. Kane Bosom. Ah, nice. I love it. Yes, I'm sorry. I should have read that full name.
Jocelyn Russell.
Oh, listen. Oh, look at the prices.
Hey,
True
everybody.
story. Vegan Metro. I spent $99 at a local dispensary here in Nevada about 3 hours ago, and that 99 paid $18 in tax. Yep, and that tax money is going to education and criminal enforcement of players of the game, non-players of the pay-to-play tax and regulate scheme. Regulated more than plutonium, one of my Twitter followers
Oh my
and
God.
retweeters said today. If they didn't regulate it like plutonium, maybe more people would be able to, they'd stay out of, they'd be in the regulated market. So the Trump factor. Now Bernie has might have given him a hint. Now, if it's up against Bernie and Bernie has said, I'm gonna take a deschedule of my executive order. Guess who else likes executive orders? If Joe
45.
Biden is the nominee, he's cool with it being a misdemeanor.
Fuck
of course, that would be a coup too if Trump did that to him. So yeah, deschedule. If hey, listen, it's a wild card. Orange Julius Caesar is a wild card. You don't know what he's going to do.
I love how you change his name every time you talk about him.
other than maybe stay for 12 years.
Hey! Don't even joke. That's unacceptable, no matter who's in office.
I'm growing 6 plants if that's the case.
Fuck that. We're going to Canada. We're going straight to Vancouver, where psilocybin has shops.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
Where did you read that?
Oh, pull it up on Doubleblind. On Doubleblind. Doubleblind.
I just read another story there too about ibogaine too, which is
Ibogaine. We're going to talk to Dana Beal about ibogaine.
This magazine is amazing.
It is amazing.
And this is a cool story. Cannabis. Canada now has psilocybin dispensaries. What's the lowdown on this, Chela?
Just like the early day. Well, not some people may not know. Just like the early days of cannabis dispensaries, where they were every here and there, and the what?
I'm just like, are you doing the?
No, I'm not.
The whispering. You're telling a story. Once upon a time.
I'm talking about trees. So there's a guy in Canada, and the cops know what he's doing, and they're not busting him. It's wild. He only gives psilocybin to people with doctor recommendations for psilocybin. But it's freaking amazing that in Canada, there are doctors giving recommendations for psilocybin. I mean, just like that. I'm going to get into this story some more in the future, but holy cow.
Oh, and
this is amazing.
Is this in I'm trying to see what province this is in.
Vancouver.
It is in Vancouver. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
where all the cool things happen.
From the article, membership takes about 24 hours to process. After that, patients are sent $4 to $7 capsules, which contain 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams, or 100 milligrams of dried golden teacher strain mushrooms mixed with spirulina, an algae-based dietary supplement, added mostly as a filler for the capsules. At their highest dose, Larson capsules are a tenth of what is considered a threshold recreational dose of 1 to 3 grams, depending on the mushroom strain, how they're grown, how they're consumed, and a number of other factors that have yet to be formally tested for non-synthetics, psilocybin, like the kind Larson sells. That is called microdosing, people.
Yeah.
That is microdosing of psilocybin, and apparently there's a doctor that's actually recommending it in Vancouver.
Today.
Already. And it's being tacitly allowed by the authority.
Yeah.
Authoritas, respect my authority.
Yep.
I venture to say if that gets too out of hand, they might start cracking down.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll crack down on people of color before they crack down on white people.
Well, I guess the good news on that is that it's where did I hear this at last night's or maybe the night before? Is that first of all, psilocybin has been just traditionally, and psychedelics in general aren't used that much by anybody, and prosecution of them been low, even in cities where they've been decriminalized. In Denver, which was amazing, but there were literally 12 cases, I think, in 1 year of somebody being prosecuted for psilocybin, and there aren't a lot of people of color in those categories. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a crackdown. But as more and more people start to use it, and more communities start to get involved in using this, because it's in America's. Psychedelics are part of the Americas.
We learned so much
right?
last night from
Wow.
from the panel at the Doubleblind launch party. It was amazing.
And that panel is going to be up. They were videoing it.
Yes.
I'm sure there's going to be a great video up about the highlights plus the full panel.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
And we will let you guys know where to find that when it's up.
And absolutely. And one of the panelists actually is in the news this week, and he's going to decriminalize California movement on the doctors this week, and we're going to play that video in the afterburn. And you'll hear a little from him, but that panel was just amazing. Did you know that there's a considerable ayahuasca community in Los Angeles area?
Who knew?
I kind of, heard about it on the edges, but apparently it's true.
Yeah.
Psychedelics are coming back in a renaissance, and I guess you could say maybe cannabis was a gateway drug.
Yeah.
To start getting all of this stuff happening again. But listen, they were all put on the schedule at the same time. To be honest, they were all added there. They're all plant medicine. Ibogaine, the synthetic. There's the other story that is in that Doubleblind magazine online, doubleblindmag.com. Let's see. There's one on ayahuasca. Here it is. This company, from the headline, this company is developing a drug based on ibogaine for the opioid crisis. And that has its roots in a plant. Of course, it's going to be the synthetic version, just like it is the synthetic version of Psilocybin is what's going to be available for prescription, probably right after, or very close after MDMA, as soon as they can get it into some, later phase trials, because the phase 1s and the phase are done in some instances, and a phase 2 I think is almost underway or currently underway for psilocybin. So MAPS, of course, is taking the lead on many of those, and certainly on the MDMA trial, they've been the one trying to do it, and now they're one of the things
MAPS.
we learned.
Tell the people what MAPS is.
The
they may not know.
Multidisciplinary. Hang on.
P.S.
Now you put me on the spot.
Psychedelic science.
That's it.
Right?
Psychedelic science. We'll find it. I thought I had it up too, because their Instagram.
It's all good. You'll find it.
I'll find it.
But yes, I just
MAPS.
didn't want you to go past MAPS too far before you.
MAPS.
MAPS.
The multidisciplinary psychology, academic science. Yeah. The founder of which just did a great TED Talk too, the very first official TED Talk on psychedelics, because of course you have TEDx that do all kinds of stuff, and but this was an official TED Talk,
Main stage.
and I'll have his name and stuff when I can find it, because I can't remember it now. Let's see some other. So watch out for Donald Trump. He may that might be his October surprise. Who knows? I'll just deschedule cannabis.
Maybe next year.
Now, the vaping issue is being covered in the Rolling Stone, as well as other places. They seem to be pointing at some type of a lipid pneumonia situation as well. But interestingly enough, they might be looking at it as possibly a genetic thing. Some research, some study in Utah is looking at macrophages, and it may not. It's being caused by a possible lipid, maybe vitamin E.
It's a macrophage. Dr. Barry Gordon, what's a macrophage?
What's a macrophage, and how would
something wrong with the lungs?
So here's what they say. I'll read what it says.
Or Dr. Biscuit.
This is ultimately what the University of Utah researchers believe is happening with these vaping cases, except with macrophages in the lung. And what do they mean? Okay, according to the study, which examined 6 vaping-related cases at the University Hospital Salt Lake City, the illnesses caused by vaping may be linked to a certain type of white blood cell called macrophages. Okay, so there you go as an answer. They are white blood cells, which help protect your immune system by essentially trapping potentially dangerous viruses and bacteria and digesting them. in people with healthy immune systems, macrophages are able to distinguish between good and bad cells. In people with inflammatory bowel disease like Crohn's, it is believed that macrophages in the intestinal system are unable to make this distinction and end up attacking the wrong cells. This is ultimately what the University of Utah researchers believe is happening with these vaping cases, except with macrophages in the lungs. When researchers examined samples from the patient's lungs, they found in patient cells the presence of lipid-laden macrophages, or macrophages that contain fat particles. Lipid-laden macrophages, macrophages. Potato, macro, are extremely unusual. I'm not a doctor, and have a distinctive appearance. Scott Aberg said, So, notably, the presence of lipid-laden macrophages in a person's lungs is also used to diagnose lipid pneumonia, a rare type of lung condition caused by inhaling these fat particles. So, they're saying that lipid pneumonia is probably what's going on here, possibly from vitamin E or some other additive, thickener, something. I think it's this new stuff. I think what this study is trying to say is that it's an immune system problem, a suppression that is causing these macrophages in the lungs to generate this response.
Causes pneumonia.
That causes this pneumonia. And that it's an inflammatory response because of a suppressed
smoking oil.
Immune system.
Smoking oil that shouldn't be smoked.
And along with an immune system that is suppressed.
Oh, so you're kind of sick to start with.
Right. I think
God forbid anybody
that's what
should
I got.
say that.
That's what I got from reading this. I could be wrong.
I'm not
and
a
they
doctor.
could just be pointing at it.
I should take a look at all the people who died and see if they look sick.
But again, you've got Dr. Berry was talking about it. You've got metals heating up. You've got all kinds of things, different temperatures of the batteries. How hot are they getting?
Smoke a joint, yo.
Smoke a
Apparently
joint.
that's the safest because it hasn't killed anybody ever.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, hey, since we last spoke, guys,
Yes.
we got more media passes. Dave's going to be working. You might be able to join me later after work. And Saturday, you're going to join me Saturday at the Cannabis World Congress.
That's right.
In Los Angeles. Next week is a huge week for cannabis conventions. We are going to CannMed. We are so excited about going to CannMed. We're going to be connecting with lots of doctors, including Dr. Barry Gordon and Dr. Mike McKenzie. You guys might know him as Techno Biscuit.
That's super exciting.
We're super excited to be connecting with you folks in real life always, and also with the other doctors and stuff that are coming to Los Angeles for CannMed. It's a crazy, ridiculously expensive conference, and last year we scrounged up the money to pay for a day for each of us to go, and then I cheated and I jumped in there the second day. Just for a few, and then I left. Anyway, so this time we are official. We got media passes. So we're super stoked and excited about that. There's going to be a lot of people from the Society of Cannabis Clinicians that are going to be there, and so we're hoping to put together some fun stories and clips and interviews from the conference as well. Not just the stuff about how cannabis helps dementia, but short things about the conference and what everybody's learning and stuff.
Well, we're really looking forward to possibly, Dr. Meshalem is supposed to be doing the keynote. Of course,
live and in the flesh.
Live and in the flesh there. And we're all going to be there, Dr. Barry and Dr. Mike for that. And we're hoping not only to have all you guys on a check-in and an interview, but hopefully Dr. Meshalem.
Yes.
We're putting that rocket out there. And we'll be there at the party Monday night. And we're totally looking forward to it. It is an amazing event. It is all of the top scientists around the world and doctors that come together looking for information about the real medicine. Despite what the current Surgeon General says, apparently it is medicine because there's doctors, very big doctors all over the world that are using it. and with great results.
Yeah.
So you stop reading your Sam talking points and come to CannMed. And we should they should invite the Surgeon General to come to CannMed and learn some things about cannabis as medicine.
Totally.
And then we're going to go to the business conference, the
Cannabis World Congress.
Congress.
And there's a lot of doctors doing symposiums as well alongside the Business Expo. There's a convention floor with lots of, brands and things like that I never actually make it to those because I'm always in the talks. I'm desperate to go to all these talks, man. I wish I could clone myself and go to every single one. But they do them on parallel tracks a lot of the time and do, multiple talks at the same time in different locations. And you just can't be, not yet, be in two places at once.
Welcome, Zoxilix. October is Kill the Oligarchy Week. Bring lots of weed for it. We'll party after. I like that.
And also, I think Zox, are you in France?
24 eyeballs lost in France so far?
Are you in France? Because Zox was talking about Macron's phallus.
Oh, I see. I see.
So I feel like Zox is
he's not in the U.S.?
A French viewer, which is awesome.
That's awesome. Welcome. Where's everybody from? We know where a lot of people from. Canada, humble Canadian is up in Canada. Techno Biscuit, he's over in Florida. Blaster Master, Massachusetts. Dr. Barry Gordon, Florida. Hey, Dr. Barry. Jilly Love, California, NorCal. Welcome everybody, wherever you're from, wherever you're joining us.
Where is everybody from?
Subscribe, get notifications. Hit that thumbs up. Thanks, Dr. B. Hit that thumbs up. That does help with the algorithm. Share it. If you want to be an OG Hey, Chela.
Yeah, babe.
We did go to this pretty cool event last night.
Oh my God, it was rad.
This was the launch party for Doubleblind. This amazing work of art and journalism on the psychedelic research renaissance. And we were at the great. That's a good picture. I like that picture. There were some brands there as well. Some very conscientious brands.
Yeah.
There was a hemp flower brand.
Really rad.
Really nice hemp joints they were giving out. CBD, very low THC hemp joints. They were right there. Tricola Farms. Very nice presentation. Family of the publisher.
Yep.
There. Part of the festivities. That was a very cool grinder that they had. A lot of pictures from Tricola Farms, smelling the hemp flower.
I loved the age range that was there. There were of course 21 and over, but all the way into octogenarians. Some of the OG fighters that allowed us to be where we are today, you guys.
Old Pal was there rolling joints for folks. Come on over and get some Old Pal joints. These young men and gentlemen were providing stimulating conversation and hand-rolled joints for anybody that wanted to come by. Well, look, Chella's like, look, Jay's. Awesome. Let's get some. We love Old Pal.
Well, it's not every day you can go to a party and get joints. Not in my world.
And drink a hi-fi hops THC malt beverage.
Yeah. It was awesome. It was really amazing.
It was in a downtown space, which was literally in an alley entry with a red light and a dark stairwell.
Which I heard was something else, but apparently it's just, all kinds of fun.
I think it's a number of things at any particular it's a very creative use of space and very actually, they did a pretty good job. It's with the facilities considering where it is and what they're working with. But it was big and there was an amazing band. As I say,
band.
Lots of cannabis. And
I think I have a picture of the band somewhere.
And that's Chela talking to Madison Margolin, one of the publisher's moms. Family well in attendance and supportive. There's Madison.
Looking right at the camera.
Yeah, you got a great shot
perfect.
there. hosting the panel. Amazing panel. That'll
Really
be up,
great
I'm sure,
panel.
on the Doubleblind site. At some point, probably on YouTube. We will definitely link to it. More gifts, some vape pens. This was an awesome drink, Chela. You enjoyed this. Artet?
I was so excited that
Artet?
there was a cocktail that I could enjoy that didn't have any alcohol in it. It was so nice. They made, you know what? I should have asked them for just a taste of the aperitif alone, because I didn't get a taste of that. They put a shot of the aperitif, which is 2.5 milligrams THC, and I think it was sparkling water and some muddled orange or something. But it was delightful to be able to have a little something to walk around with. And I think the bottle is going to sell for $50-$60 out the door, they said, so inclusive of tax, I think. There are 2 dispensaries. There's one near Culver City that has one, and one in Santa Ana. So if we're going to a Fen party, maybe I'll stop and get that.
And I think Chela should be the spokesmodel for Artet.
Well, you're the sweetest.
With that, I drink Artet. When I'm at a cannabis event, I drink Artet. Cannabis aperitif.
It was great. It was really lovely. It wasn't too sweet. It was great.
And they had it on tonic. It reminded me of a kind of a fancy Greyhound, a light Greyhound. But it had those spices in it too. It had like cardamom, I think.
Yeah.
It's a cardamom and a little bit of ginger, just a hint of ginger. But it was refreshing on ice. I enjoyed it on ice. So that was definitely cool. Oh wait, here we're looking at some more pictures.
Julie Love, are you selling real estate?
There's
That was loud.
turn this down. That's Chela dancing to an amazing band, guys. This band.
And that is Bruce Margolin.
Who is Bruce Margolin?
Bruce Margolin is one of the original Cannabis Crusader attorneys,
yeah.
Yeah. And he has helped a lot of people. And he is also the father of the publisher of Doubleblind.
That's right. Madison's
So
father.
that's pretty exciting.
That is pretty cool.
And he's moving like a kid. He's got to be close to 70. He's fabulous.
Yes. And the band,
Band was amazing.
which was, I found
She was incredible. They were all fantastic. I'm going to
the
follow them
Instagram,
for sure.
but
Oh, you
I've
did?
lost it.
Oh, really? That's amazing.
I'll find it during the afterburn.
That's cool.
But it was the end. Now, like I say, they did a really good job at the venue. Let's get a little pan of the room here. There we go. Well attended. Very luminaries. Dana Beal. Dana Beal?
Yeah. Yes.
We hope to get him on and talk about Ibogaine, the story of Ibogaine. There's Madison's mom, and the other young lady was
Shelby. Shelby. Yes.
Shelby's godmother.
Shelby's
Right?
godmother,
Right.
yes.
Okay, so Shelby's godmother and Madison's mom. I
and
wanted
Madison's
to get
mom. Yes,
the
indeed.
lineage correct. And
There
then,
was the reason we were standing all together is because that's where the AC was.
right.
There was
only-
one little air conditioning, and it was right above where we were standing. There's a live painting there in the corner you can see. That painting was done live
there was
throughout the event, and it's going to be auctioned off. It was fun. This was a fun party.
Chela met this amazing company. We got a Sonder.
Yes, Sonder. Lovely second-generation farmers. She and her wife produce these amazing vape pens right now. They're going to be branching out into other products, but vape pens is what they're doing right now. And they gave us some, and they're really great. You know, smooth, clean, none of the additives, just cannabis oil.
Straight cannabis oil.
Yeah.
That's these guys. Sonder Time. And they're one of the companies that have to do this, this damage control. A note from our founders: we're deeply concerned about the recent vape-related illnesses and deaths currently under investigation by the CDC. Who wants to put that out on their frickin' Instagram, people? We want to reassure you that we have not, nor ever will, put anything other than 100% cannabis into our vape oils, period. We created Sonder for cannabis users like ourselves, people with an uncompromising commitment to the highest quality cannabis, who wanted a pure, great-tasting vape that we could use daily with the confidence that there were no potentially harmful chemicals or additives in our cannabis oils ever. That's why from day one we set out to create a vape that contains all of the good stuff and none of the bad stuff. So, this is affecting, this is a licensed company, one of the family's generations that have been affected by this Prop 64, who were able to get licensed and to create an amazing conscientious brand, all women run, with a focus on quality, organic, no garbage. Sun grown, right? Mm-hmm. And now
Triangle Cannabis.
And now they got to deal with this nonsense. Mm-hmm. So I think there's something more to this. I don't know.
He's conspiracizing.
I like a good conspiracy.
He does.
And
you can write a movie about it, baby.
I'll write a movie about it. I think there's something more to this. But back to the party. Couple more pictures. Just because it's so... Oh, here we go. The end of the party. This was the end. We got...
this guy, oh my God.
We got a concert in the alley.
Oh my God, it was fantastic.
With the didgeridoo.
We couldn't get a good picture of that, but boy, was he great.
It was funny. It was funny because we walked out... we walked basically, down this dark stairwell out into the alleyway. And in the darkness came this giant sound of a didgeridoo. He moved inside... because we wanted to get a picture of him, but we found, hey, look, he moved in. But he was literally in a dark corner across from the garbage can. It was
and this is the elevator that we're seeing a picture of.
Oh, that's
him in the elevator.
Oh, that's him in the elevator shaft.
Yeah, in the elevator. Yeah,
what was an elevator, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting building, interesting repurposing of a I'm gonna say abandoned building.
No,
I jest. But there were a lot of. I made sure that there were a lot of sprinklers in the ceiling.
Yeah, Dave was checking it out.
I was counting the sprinklers.
I was just trying not to think about it.
Because there were a lot of candles and
flammable things.
A lot of rooms, a lot of weird rooms through paint storage.
I think Dave had a little too much THC.
Maybe that's the case. I'm sure the microdose had me doing a few things too at some point. But it was a great time. We had a blast. It was truly fun. We thank them so much, Madison and Shelby, for inviting us and making us part of their amazing launch.
Yeah, it was really great.
We can't wait for the next printing, next issue.
Yes.
Is it a monthly, quarterly?
No, I think it's quarterly.
Quarterly.
Maybe biannual.
And listen,
maybe triannual.
You can order it online. It's free shipping. It's $12. I'll put the link in the description. You can't buy a magazine anymore at the newsstand for less than $16.
It's true.
Any of these specialty magazines, it's ridiculous. And they're garbage. They're garbage mainstream propaganda nonsense, like the Newsweek one that I'm sure is just nonsense that Alexis was mentioning. But I'm sure that bugger's $16, $18. And here you're getting some amazing artworks, amazing journalism, writing, poetry, photography, and the real information about the psychedelic renaissance.
I mean, look at this magazine, you guys. This
super stuff.
Amazing. I mean, I'm sure you can't see it as well as it should be.
No, it's definitely getting the physical copy in your hands is definitely something she should do.
Good. I want to talk about, I want to talk about Decriminalize California.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
if you can. Oh, I just pushed the carpet and that, I think, just ruined my camera.
Oh, you're all right. You just opened up a little bit to the wall. Ryan Munever, I'm probably saying his name completely wrong. I know I am. Ryan from Decriminalize California was the on the panel, That's a
He
pretty cool
is
organization.
Decriminalize California.
So what is Decriminalize California?
Did you bring it up? There we go.
I will.
Yeah. You're going to.
Yes.
It's happening. So he is spearheading Decriminalize California to decriminalize psilocybin throughout the whole state. And I think they're going to make it so that you can cultivate your own.
Well, you can volunteer. It's decrimca.org, the California Psilocybin Decriminalization and Research Initiative 2020. You can volunteer, which involves phone banking, workshops,
signature gathering.
You need to
gather a whole lot of signatures in a short period of time.
That's really what's needed is people to gather signatures.
Yeah.
They have a national effort as well as in California. I'm sure they were instrumental in Oakland's efforts, possibly in Denver's too. But from the website, an open source initiative, we started with an idea to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms in California last year and typed it up on a Google document. Then we shared it with all the stakeholders, granting them comment privileges to take notes, and then redrafted it to submit it to the state of California. The state redrafted the language, giving us the formal text to remove psilocybin and psilocin by striking out any reference to them in the California health and safety codes, effectively decriminalizing them. Ooh. The next step is to add the whereas statements and intent before submitting the final draft to the state for review. So this is a grassroots, mycelium web project, if you will.
We will.
Open as if fruits from a mycelium net spring up, gathering signatures, writing an initiative to remove psilocin and psilocybin from the health and safety codes, effectively decriminalizing another harmless plant or pseudo plant substance of great benefit. So amazing organization. You can join and donate. You can volunteer. And if you're in the Southern California area, and I don't know if they probably do it throughout California, I would think, they hold workshops.
Yep.
And I think that this will decriminalize in California, but it seems it feels like the old outgrow the government plan. Of cannabis back in the 60s. They in 70s rather, when they said, okay, you're going to put it on Schedule 1 where we're just going to grow it everywhere and spread the seeds all across. And then they've been doing that with psilocybin too. Psilocybin was spread all up and down the West Coast. So that's as an offshoot or a fruiting, a spreading of the mycelium of more psilocybin. And so they give workshops on how you basically grow magic mushrooms in a popcorn tub.
Pretty cool, huh?
So that's pretty revolutionary.
Really revolutionary. We're going to get in on that. We'll let you know how it goes.
Well, we're hoping to have...
Look at the time.
We're hoping to have Ryan on the show.
Yes.
And he's in the news this week, and we're going to play a little clip from the doctors this week, and a little bit about his story. And we do hope to have him on the show, along with Dana.
That'd be cool.
Talking about psilocybin.
Not along with.
Rather, not at the same time, but to also get them on the show.
Yes.
And MAPS is the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Association is what we were missing.
That's what yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We had all the rest.
Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, founded in 1986. And there's a link there to Rick Doblin's TED Talk, the first official TED Talk, The Future of Psychedelic Assisted Psychotherapy, the first official one on psychedelics. And it's really good. It's really good. And so MAPS, the representative from MAPS was on the panel talking about the MDMA research, which was quite exciting. And also on the panel was, let's see if I can bring up, this is the website of the Chacruna Institute.
Oh, great. She was great. She was so informative. She told us so much about the Americas.
Which is an institute for psychedelic plant medicines, focusing very much so on ayahuasca. So amazing event, amazing panel that will be up. We'll tell you the links when they come. And this is an amazing time, guys. We may just get cannabis descheduled or rescheduled by the guy in the office. I don't know.
45. The Orange Julius.
It's out there in the world. The rocket it went out and it's starting to come back.
There's little resistance.
And there's a long way to go in this primary and election situation. So I don't think I think this, because it is such a prevalent issue in 2020 across the country in every state. It's going to be on the ballot in every state. So if people are going to go in and vote for cannabis, who are they going to vote for? If that's why they're voting, if cannabis is getting them to the ballot box, which is what happened in Michigan, the one who promises the most or is the most believable in pursuing those goals progressively are probably going to get the vote, at least in the Democratic primary. And if something happens and it gets descheduled prior to the general election, well, who's going to get that vote? I don't know. Not ours, but...
Well, it'll be people who have other concerns, not just cannabis concerns.
Right.
It's just that the cannabis vote it would definitely...
Are there single-issue cannabis voters?
Yes. There are.
But,
I mean, I worked with someone last week who, is a wage worker like me and is a person of color and is talking about voting for 45. And I was blown away by it. I couldn't believe that that's his position, but it is. And he's not a cannabis voter, but he was saying, hey, he's making us the money, man. I'm like, what are you talking about, this guy? So it's very weird how people choose to vote, but I say just get more people in the pool. More people in. And maybe it'll work out for us.
There's only one way that Bernie Sanders is going to win the primary, and there's only one way that essentially anybody, I think Bernie's going to have an easier chance of it if he gets the nomination, but anybody else on that list, there's it's going to be tough to beat Donald Trump, especially if he pulls any crazy moves that look progressive. Yeah. I mean, remember, he used to support Medicare for all. He used to support universal health care.
Business people support Medicare for all. People who own companies don't want to pay for health care for their workers. So they're perfectly fine with Medicare for all.
And I got to say, as far as who's progressive and not progressive in this race, there's a conversation, if I find that if you change your core political ideology 360, especially after 47 years, it has to be suspect. People don't flip politically, ideologically to that extreme that quickly. No one's a Republican for 47 years and then becomes a progressive. I don't buy it. It has to be, I know maybe it's true, but it has to be suspect. Bernie has been the same independent the entire time. So Donald Trump has not always been a Republican. He was a Democrat. He believed in universal health care. He believed in, I think we're going to have to do that or something to that effect. So, I think, crazy things every day. It's something crazy happens, something out of the box, something out of the establishment, something that is not necessarily, that may or may not be beneficial, like the firing of John Bolton. Well, he shouldn't have hired him, but
right,
I mean,
shouldn't have hired him, but they did fire him. So that was good.
Shouldn't negotiate with tyrants, but hey, it's stopping nuclear war. But it's crazy things. Crazier things have happened, is what I'm saying.
True story.
Other than descheduling cannabis, especially since Bernie's planted the seed.
Jilly Love says if it's not Bernie, it'll be Trump again.
That's right.
Blaster
right.
Master, Bernie or Bust. Of course, Blaster Master is from Vermont, but you know.
That's what it is, Vermont. Sorry, Blaster Master. I was close. Northeast, the Northeast Block and the Afterburn, which is coming up, guys. We're going to start.
Now, yeah,
we're coming up
tardy.
right now. We're going to move into the Afterburn. Let's
Here
get
we
into
go.
some. We're going to start in Canada. We're going to start up in Canada. So thank you guys for joining the first hour. Lots of action happening next week on the Hill. We're probably going to see some votes.
Call your elected representatives and tell them you support cannabis normalization.
Absolutely.
Call them all.
Tell them you support cannabis businesses getting access to banking. And guess what? Ease couldn't process credit cards this week in California. I wonder why that happened. So, let's get some movement. The more movement that happens in the House and the Senate, banking looks like it's going to happen. The 1, 2, 3, I don't know. Maybe it'll get rescheduled. Maybe that's what'll happen. But we're going to see some action next week. Don't forget to put your comments again into the FDA.
Yes.
That ends on September 30th. So do all those things. Subscribe to dc420la.com to get the newsletter and see what we've talked about this week. And stay tuned for the Afterburn, where we will hotbox the mainstream media in the MST 420 theater. Stay tuned. Free the plant, free the people. Pot for peace. See you in 2 minutes. Subscribe. Get that thumbs up before I stop streaming. Okay.